Warning, there will be spoilers for The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1, titled The Apostate. If you haven't seen it yet, proceed with caution. The Mandalorian Season 3 is finally here, and if anyone was wondering why Rick Famuyiwa is among my favorite directors of the Mandalorian series, this episode is why. While the runtime is only 32 minutes, it packs a lot in. That's actual screen time, not counting the credits. Action, adventure, lore, pirates, and of course Grogu is up to his cute antics once again, or Baby Yoda if that's what you know him by. Star Wars fans have been looking forward to The Mandalorian Season 3 for almost 2.5 years, and the wait is worth it. There are more Mandalorians than you can shake a stick at. Seriously, who came up with that saying? Why would anyone shake a stick at something, especially if they're just trying to count it? Let me know if you know the answer. Anyways, sorry for getting sidetracked there. Today I'm going to give my Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1 The Apostate breakdown and review. And there's a lot to get through, so stick around for the full video to get the positives and the 1 or 2 negatives on the episode. Also, a little bit of theorizing and some deeper thought later in the video. Before I move on with the Mandalorian breakdown and review, a quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a quest to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that journey. I know you hear that from every other YouTube channel, but hey, this is freaking Star Wars, baby. Who doesn't love Star Wars? I know you do. And I promise to give you the best Star Wars has to offer in a positive way for as long as I make videos. In other words, I keeps it real for a very long time. With that said, let's move on with today's topic. Okay, first I'll give you a little bit of a recap. The Mandalorian Season 3 opens up with the armorer constructing a helmet. A Mandalorian helmet unlike others we have seen. But it leaves us wondering, who is the helmet for? When the armorer emerges from the cave, the scene opens up to show Mandalorians. A lot of them. It seems the Children of the Watch are no longer just 2 Mandalorians, Paz Vizsla and the armorer. In fact, they have grown in size to the point where they are yet again taking in foundlings, and that is exactly who the helmet is for, a foundling. In old Mandalorian lore, a Mandalorian was given their armor at 13 years old, at which time the foundling has made the choice to stay with their Mandalorian clan or group. In this case, the foundling looks to be about 13 years old. Does that mean this bit from the old expanded universe is canon? Well, we know Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau like pulling from legends to reintroduce ideas into the current canon. We saw it with Boba Fett's chain code in The Mandalorian Season 2. But the armorer doesn't just give the foundling his helmet, it's a whole ceremony. But the ceremonious occasion is short-lived as from the waters leaps a giant saltwater crocodile turtle thing. Some Mandalorians are lost, some eaten, and some squashed. It seems the Children of the Watch can't get a break. Enter Din Djarin and Grogu to save the day. By dispatching the beast with the N-1 Naboo starfighter, the Children of the Watch are again safe to explore their endeavors. Din Djarin then shows proof to the armorer that Mandalore may not be poisonous as assumed after all. She agrees that if he can get to the mines within the Mandalorian homeworld and cleanse himself of any wrongdoing, that he may again be a part of their weird cult. Din Djarin then travels back to Navarro and asks permission from Greef Karga to use the remaining parts of IG-11 in order to revive him in an effort to use his skills to help him on Mandalore. High Magistrate Karga agrees, but the task was difficult. Even the little Babu Frick people can't restore IG-11 to a directive that doesn't involve the droid trying to kill Grogu. Navarro is then visited by pirates, and quickly Din Djarin and High Magistrate Karga kill all but one, sending him on his way to carry a message to his captain. No, the captain isn't Hondo Ohnaka, and that's a shame. Din Djarin then travels to visit Bo-Katan Kryze, who is now left all alone in her big castle. Her night owls have abandoned her since she no longer has the Darksaber. But she didn't have the Darksaber when Moff Gideon possessed it. Confused. but I'm sure we'll find out more about that in coming episodes. Bo-Katan then tells Din Djarin that he's a fool and that there is nothing magic about the mines, that if he wants to restore Mandalore, he has the Darksaber and to go unite the people himself. I ain't doing it. Okay, that's my recap of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. I left some details out as I don't want to make an hour video explaining all of it, and I'm sure you all don't want that either. Maybe I'll break it down into several videos. But I will say this, Din Djarin made a new enemy. Probably just a minor thorn in his side, but we will see how that plays out. I'll get to my biggest takeaway from this episode of The Mandalorian in just a bit. But before that, I do want to go over some themes and thoughts. The first being that Jon Favreau has stated that Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, had been training with Luke Skywalker for 2 years. We don't know how long it was between Din Djarin exiled and having Grogu return to him. I would assume it was the better part of that 2 years, as the Children of the Watch grew exponentially since he last saw them. They're also not hiding in the sublevels of a ring planet anymore, but rather on a planet that seems desolate, other than giant beasts trying to eat them. But we only saw a small piece of that planet, so who knows how desolate it really is. In the Navarro sequence, we see that Kowakia monkey lizards are hanging out in trees. This is a stark contrast to how we saw them before, in cages and being roasted and eaten. It's a sign that Navarro has changed from a place of questionable integrity to one of a Republic gem. And that's seen throughout the architecture, active citizens, and children even running and playing. Not to mention the old bar that was the meeting spot for the Bounty Hunters Guild is now a school, just as we saw in The Mandalorian Season 2. Overall, the galaxy still seems a bit rough, especially in the Outer Rim. The New Republic has a lot of work to do to make that place safe and prosperous. But no one had been able to tame it before the New Republic, and any sign of progress may fall into regression. It's just a thought. Look at Jakku during the time of the New Republic being in power for more than 30 years by the time of the sequel trilogy. Not much change there, I guess. When Din Djarin meets the Children of the Watch and the Armorer, there's no real emotion. Nothing suggests that these are close people that care about one another. Not that Mandalorians are the most feeling people, but look at the interaction. Din Djarin didn't congratulate them on their increasing numbers. There was no handshake or greeting of any kind. It was a cold encounter. I mean, they didn't even let the foundling fix his hair before placing the helmet on his head and telling him he could never remove it. Now he's going to be stuck with helmet hair forever. But look at the interaction between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan Kryze. A little bit more emotion there. Not a greeting so much, but emotion. It was really good to see the Mandalorian series return. It brought back a lot of things we equate with Star Wars. Giant beasts, a space battle, gunfights, and of course a crap ton of new Mandalorian lore. And with that lore comes my biggest takeaway, Bo-Katan Kryze, or Bo-Karen as I've called her in the past. A lot of Star Wars fans speculated she would be the villain of the show, at least one of the villains. I didn't think that, ever. She was once a villain and left that part of her life behind. Yes, I've always thought she was the definition of a Karen, but I didn't see her as a villain, just a manipulator. And it seems I was right, at least so far. Instead, we find her on the edge of being broken, understanding her losses and coming to terms with it. Bo-Katan is a complex character. She's probably one of my favorite Mandalorians and has been since Star Wars Rebels. But in The Mandalorian Season 3, she seems changed, developed into something we didn't think would happen. Maybe it was due to her understanding that she royally effed up as the Mandalore, but I think there's more to it than that. And she delivers one line that solidifies this thought. Din Djarin asks her if she gave up on her designs to reclaim Mandalore. She did seem like she flip-flopped, to be honest, but then she says something profound, something with deeper meaning. She answers Din Djarin by saying that his cult gave up on Mandalore long before the Purge. She asks Mando, "Where were you then?" That the Children of the Watch and the factions that came before it fractured and shattered the Mandalorian people. This is an admittance of her guilt for what she's done through the years, prior to being the leader of the Mandalorian people. Yes, she accused the Children of the Watch, but she was merely saying they took part in destroying Mandalorian culture, and they weren't the entire cause, that she is also to blame. To understand this, you have to know a little of the history of Bo-Katan Kryze. She wasn't always the patriotic Mandalorian. She was a part of Death Watch, a group that helped assassinate Bo-Katan's own sister, Satine Kryze, who was the leader of the peaceful Mandalorian people and the leader of all of Mandalore during the Clone Wars. Bo-Katan even took part in one of the attempts on her sister's life. After splitting from Death Watch, Bo-Katan began her own faction, the Night Owls. Now, she has guilt for her own involvement in these revolutions that led to the ultimate destruction of Mandalore. She wasn't just angry with the Children of the Watch for their actions during the Purge, or inactions. She was upset with the way Mandalorian warriors seemed to cause their own destruction by splintering, and she was part of that. One last thought that I'll leave you with. I have been told not to stop making theories and speculating, so there is an Easter egg in The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1 that I think is more of a foreshadowing than fan service. Purrgil. Grogu sees them traveling through hyperspace. With what we know of Grogu, he has a way with animals and beasts. I believe this is foreshadowing that Grogu will eventually link up with the Purrgil and discover where they had taken Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn. I may make a whole video on this if there's enough support for it. So let me know in the comments if this is something you'd like to see. Also, let me know what you thought of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1 as a whole. I gave it a solid 8.5. I took points off for the length. At 32 minutes, this could have been a longer season premiere, but I won't complain too much as there's plenty packed into that time. But before I go, another word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a journey to hit that 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that next phase of this channel. Until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars fandom is the only way.